Now we head to the northern panhandle. Keri Brown is no relation to Charlie Brown, but she's found an extensive collection of Snoopy from the Peanuts cartoon in a Wheeling doctor's office.
Meet William Mercer, a family doctor for 25 years, director of the local health department for the past 9 years, and a passionate collector of peanuts.
This is the pediatric room. And actually, when I had my original office, had it specially made. This is actually a Snoopy doghouse. It functions as a desk. And they even have Snoopy towels. I try to save them. This is a picture of Snoopy Rock. It's in Sedona, Arizona. If you look, this is actually Snoopy laying down. You can see that's his head, his belly, his feet. I mean, it's a huge rock.
Did you make a pilgrimage?
I made a pilgrimage there, and it was awesome. I mean, that is huge. I mean, if you were standing on top, you really couldn't even see yourself. I mean, that's how big that is. Yeah, it's about a couple hours north of Phoenix. The other thing I kind of like are these trophies. There's 240 different ones. I think right now I have about 120. Probably more when I was 14, I really started to wanting to draw. I wanted to be a cartoonist. So I would go to the papers and I would cut out the daily Peanuts cartoon, and I would try to draw. And you know, one written rule, you can never trace, so you always had to draw freehand. And I thought, yeah, pretty good. So I would actually draw some of these, put them in color, and I would take them to school, and these were some of the ones I still have, and I would sell them. I guess the reason I still have them because no one wanted to buy them, but I did sell some, and most of them were, you know, Charlie Brown. You know, here's some of, you know, Donald Duck, Flintstones, but the majority, 90%, was Peanuts characters that I did. And I think even back then, maybe somebody could say here was kind of maybe the doctor coming out in me, because here was one that I did. If you remember Mad Magazine, that's where I kind of got a lot of my ideas. But it's interesting, even back then, I wanted to be Charles M. Schultz II. That's how I signed that. Well, mostly when in the beginning I got drawn to it because I could draw Peanuts. It seemed to be, it was natural for me. And then later, when I had my own office, it was kind of like, you know, you pick something when you're 10 years old and it still is popular. So, you know, I kind of made that into my pediatrics room. You know, the kids liked it. And it seemed to relate to the kids plus the adults. I know when I had my other pediatric room, the adults would get upset when they didn't get to go into the Snoopy room. I don't know if you're familiar with Patch Adams. He was a physician who kind of took a different approach. He looked at trying to treat people with laughter and humor, and you know, his approach worked out very well for him. So it's kind of similar to me with the cartoons. I mean, some of there are the 3 exam rooms that I have that are devoted to Snoopy. The patients love it. One room is a calendar room. They go in there, and I'll go in to see them and says, they're not done reading yet. So I think it puts them at ease. Not everybody. I remember one lady I went into, she says, oh, this room makes me dizzy. It's not for everybody, but for most people, they see something in there they didn't see before. Maybe takes their mind off of, you know, some other problems they might have.
He incorporates his love of the Peanuts characters into something else, his passion to keep kids from smoking.
Yeah, it seems like we have to fight a lot. And here are some of the things we had to deal with. You know, one is Joe Camel, which luckily he's not being marketed now, but his presence is still there. Even Fred Flintstone, they marketed smoke Winstons. And here's the one I like. More doctors smoke Camels. And they didn't realize it back then. It was promoted as being healthy. It soothed their throat. I can't remember how many stars like John Wayne would do advertising. It helped his throat when he would act. With the kids, 2 or 3 cigarettes a day, in 2 weeks they become addicted. I mean, that's how quick it can happen. So it doesn't take much. And then once you're addicted at that age, you're looking at least 17 years before you can quit smoking. So we want to focus on getting this early. And again, you know, well, you can see in my office how I like Snoopy and how much we've done with the smoking regulations here in Ohio County. For me to be able to mingle the two is like, this is, you know, this is a gift to me.
His message will be presented at the Peanuts on Parade Festival in California. The event is a tribute to Peanuts creator Charles Schulz, who died in 2000. Professional artists will work with participants like Dr. Mercer to create life-size 600-pound statues of a Peanuts character. This year's theme is Joe Cool, and Dr. Mercer intends to show kids that smoking isn't cool. He also gets to work with the Schultz family.
I remember, are you sure you guys are going to let me do this? And Helen, who was one of the coordinators, said, Dr. Mercer, if you're so worried, here's Craig Schultz's home phone number. Call him tonight yourself.
Hello?
Oh, Craig?
Yeah.
Hey, Bill Mercer from West Virginia.
How you doing this morning?
Oh, great.
We're looking forward to meeting you and your family, and you're going to have a great time out here seeing all the statues, see them come together, and I think you'll be inspired, and we'll have a lot of kids seeing your statue.
Again, I'm really looking forward to it, and I really appreciate you accepting the one design I sent in. I know I talked to you a couple times, and in the beginning, you know, with me wanting to do that Joe Too Cool to Smoke, I think you had a little concern. Could you maybe mention about that?
Sure, the Joe Too Cool to Smoke. You know, as you know, out in California here, you know, we have like no place to smoke almost anywhere. They pretty much ban smoking in California. So when you came to me with the idea of Joe Too Cool to Smoke, I thought the idea was a great idea. I think it's fantastic. You know, take the statue and, you know, take it around to schools, try to promote the no smoking thing state you're in, which is fantastic. The problem with it was the original design was a little too edgy as far as having, you know, a cigarette be associated with the Snoopy character. You know, we don't allow Snoopy to be seen smoking or drinking and so forth. So I think once we toned your design down and yet still allowed you to keep the title and do your promotion, I think it's going to work well together.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and actually I think it's going to work out better. You know, the artist we have has done a beautiful design, and really it's just being able to name it Joe Too Cool to Smoke is really the most important thing.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. And like I said, promote that around the young people, and have the young kids see Snoopy and the whole theme, and be able to promote it in your part of the world. It's going to be beneficial to everybody.
Yeah, our part of the world is a little different than you guys out there, but we're trying to be like you.
Hey, you're catching up, bit by bit.
We're catching up, but yeah, I do plan to take this around to the middle schools, elementary schools, to try to get the kids not to start to smoke. And, you know, really, from my standpoint, who better than Snoopy to try to promote that? Okay, Craig, I really appreciate it, and I'll be seeing you in about a month.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
After the statue is used for his smoke-free campaign at area schools, Dr. Mercer will ultimately make this Snoopy the crowning achievement of his collection. For Outlook, I'm Keri Brown.
Dr. Mercer will attend the Peanuts on Parade Festival on May 16th in Santa Rosa, California.